So I want to have an open discussion on why living in Hawaii may not be for you. And this could apply for locals, but primarily it's people who move to Hawaii and then maybe they're thinking after about 5 to 7 years, I don't know if this is worth it anymore. And when people talk about reasons why they leave Hawaii, I think a lot of that discussion revolves around finances, how things are super expensive here. And yes, they are expensive. Housing, groceries, gas, it all adds up and it does take a toll on you. But I want to primarily talk about 3 other reasons why I think people decide to leave Hawaii. And I think that if you were to conduct exit interviews of people who end up leaving Hawaii after 5 to 7 years, I think collectively you'll see a pattern. And this is what I've noticed just from my own observation, why people decide that, maybe living in Hawaii is just not worth it anymore.
Hello from Hawaii.
And reason number 1, why living in Hawaii may not be for you is if you get bored easily. Now, living in Hawaii may seem like the ultimate adventure, right? You got paradise, you got waterfalls, you got these cliffs, you got off-roading, you got all of these amazing, amazing things. There seems to be like so much to do when you're a visitor and you only have a week in Hawaii. But let me just say that if you're stuck in Hawaii or really any place for an extended period of time, you kind of fall into certain routines and you find out that maybe there isn't as much to do here as you initially thought. I mean, you can only go to the beach so many times. You can only eat at certain places before they fall into your routine and the food isn't as exciting as it used to be. And then what do? You cannot just jump in the car and go drive to the next state. And I think this island boredom may not settle right away. It may take some time, especially if you're young and you don't have a lot of responsibilities. Yeah, you can go out and adventure, maybe visit some of the neighbor islands and have a lot of fun, but give it a few years here. Because with the added busyness of work and other responsibilities just being here, you realize that maybe you don't have as much free time as you thought. And even if you did, Hawaii doesn't change too much. There's not too many new experiences or businesses that do come here because it's fairly expensive. And so you're gonna have to find ways to sort of reinvent the old experiences that you've had. I mean, for us as a family, we've sort of settled in a pretty good routine. We eat at Zippy's, we eat at certain restaurants, we go to the same playground. So if you get bored easily, Hawaii may not be for you. Unless you really want to take a lot of effort to go out there and find new things, new experiences, then sure. But I think for most people, we get work, get kids, pretty busy, don't really have a lot of time to really reinvent things, but still we enjoy it and we have a great time. All right, reason number 2 why you may not want to live in Hawaii is if you don't have family here. Now, I really believe that for local people who do have family here, it's one of our biggest home court advantages versus other people who decide to move to Hawaii who have no family here. And I think this plays out on both sides of this family spectrum. Now, on the front end, when you have kids, having family here is invaluable. They can help with emotional support, I guess financial support as well, but really they can help watch the kids in case you need a break or you gotta go work because, hey, there's spring break, there's summer break, there's fall break, Christmas break. I mean, there's a lot of holidays where if you have to work full time, which most people have to do, it's kind of hard to pay for a babysitter or always sign them up for some kind of paid program. But on the other side, as kids get older, I think there's a tendency for parents of these adult children to want to be closer to their kids, to their adult kids. Not just to see the grandkids, but maybe to get some help. And I think having that family support as you get older is really important. Maybe as younger people, we don't think about that, but if you've ever had an older auntie or your grandma, grandpa, and you have to take care of them, it's actually a pretty important thing. Drive them to doctor, make sure that they're okay, go buy them food if they need it, go grocery shopping for them. I remember when I was interviewing people for this book that I was compiling back in Colorado, I wanted to interview these people who were living at a nursing home. And I just wanted to hear their stories. And so with their permission, I recorded just talking story with them, just them telling me anything they wanted to tell me, and then I type it up and I compiled it in a book for all these individuals. And the sad thing for me was, as they were talking about their family, here I am in Greeley, Colorado, kind of northern Colorado, but really kind of a small town. But I'm sitting there listening to these people's stories, and when I ask them, where's your family? Where's your kids? You know, because they're talking about their kids, and their kids are not even in the state. They're several states away, and I'm thinking, how often do they see them? And barely ever. As someone from Hawaii, where family is really important, I thought that was just heartbreaking. That was so sad, because for us, I go grandma and grandpa's house, it's drive 40 minutes, easy. And so living in Hawaii may be hard if you don't have family here. Definitely not impossible, and a lot of people have done it, but I think it tends to weigh on you. The reason why I moved back here was because of family. I had stuff going on the mainland, but I decided that I wanted to spend time with my parents, my brother, aunties, uncles, cousins, everybody else, and so I moved back here. And so that's why I think you see a lot of younger couples or older kapuna decide to move to the mainland, to move elsewhere. Because as a young family, they need that family support from their parents, in-laws. And as a kapuna, I think they miss their kids. If their kids have moved away, other than maybe some friends and memories, there's not as much holding them here. And they just want to see their kids and their grandkids, and they can't do that like maybe they expected or thought they would, because their grandkids and their kids aren't here anymore. And reason number 3, and I think this is probably the weariest one, the one that'll kind of grind you down over time. It's if you just can't accept the local culture, the local mentality, the way that things sometimes don't change. Or another way to put it is, if you have very strong beliefs and you just don't feel like you can compromise, or I guess to put it better, you just can't settle anymore. You want more. Now, there's a certain weariness that comes to living in Hawaii. And I'm not talking about the financial costs where it could wear you down. You feel like you're working so hard and getting so little and you're barely making it. That'll wear you down, but there's a different kind of weariness. This sort of emotional, this sort of island thinking that if you don't buy into it, it just becomes, I think it just wears down your mind, your heart, your soul. It can be a lot. Now in Hawaii, we just have a certain way of doing things. Some of this is just part of the culture, like no wear slippers in the house. But there are other things like paradigms or ways of thinking that in Hawaii, it just doesn't seem to change. And the reasoning behind that is not really any sound reasoning, but it's more like historical. It's more like that's just how things have always been. And I've seen this so often. If you have an idea that could really improve things for a lot of people, and you're super excited and passionate about it, but if you go at it the wrong way, or if the person you're talking to is just really set in their ways, it's probably gonna go nowhere. And I know it's very discouraging for people to hear that and to experience that. I've experienced it myself, and I've heard it from a lot of other people who have really great ideas, and they're just trying to help Hawaii, and yet they seem to get nowhere. I don't know why we locals do this to ourselves. I mean, we don't have to, no one's forcing us to. There's probably thousands of great ideas that have been lost at the conference table, emails, just talking, because someone says, nah, that's never gonna work here. Why? Because we don't do that here. And speaking as a local here, born and raised, sometimes even I get frustrated at how slow things seem to change. Sometimes the people that are in charge, the ones making the most decisions, it seems like they're lacking that vision sometimes for these things that really could help local people. Even with all their great intentions, sometimes it seems like they're disconnected to the average experience that a lot of local people have. And they could help in certain ways, but it just doesn't seem like it happens. And I get it, it's never as simple as it seems. There's a lot of political and financial considerations. But speaking as someone with a family here, we could use the help. Now I know that there's a lot of families out there who are considering leaving Hawaii all the time. And maybe they're having these discussions in their home, maybe they're having it with friends or co-workers. As someone who's raising my family here, sometimes these thoughts come in my mind. I think about, I wonder if it's worth it to live here anymore. And I got all these different reasons and I think about all these what if scenarios. But I think that we've settled here. For better or for worse, as hard as it may be, this is our home. This is where we're gonna make our home. Now things may change and we may end up moving, but I don't see that. I think we're fortunate as a family that that's not really something that we're thinking about or discussing on a daily or weekly basis. This is our home and we're gonna try to make it work. But I know that there are a lot of families out there, local families and families who have moved here, that they're discussing this constantly. And especially again, in this 5 to 7 year window after the pandemic, a lot of people moved here. Maybe you're starting to have these discussions. Maybe these topics are becoming more and more brought up. And I think that's okay, and I think that's a good thing to start thinking about. Hawaii may not be for everyone, and I think it's important to remember that. So I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and aloha.
Hello.